Hello and welcome. This is the 800 series / balance drive 2 general maintenance video. We're going to cover things like loose back screw, squeaky in the mechanism, that sort of thing. If you've not already watched the balance drive adjustment video, that's linked by QR code in your toolkit that came with the Cyber Hammer, definitely go watch that now. Link is in the description. We'll pause for you and wait while you do that. Okay, now that everyone's watched that video and understands how this system works, let's go ahead and take this apart. We're going to assume that this has a squeaky mechanism. So we're going to use the T20 flag driver that came with our kit. And this is a really nice tool because it kind of limits the amount of torque that we have to work with. And it's easy to find in your toolkit and carry around. Just a nice little one-piece tool. You can also use one of these common T20 driver bits in a bit holder. This is absolutely acceptable. What is not acceptable is this is way more than you need, and you will have no feel for what's going on. Bad. Don't use this. Hand tools, good. Power tools, bad. Okay, let's take out this back screw here. This is going to remove the back screw and back bearing assembly in one piece. Off it comes. Set that aside. Here's the front bearing and extension assembly. Set that aside. And we're going to use just a shop towel or whatever, paper towel, bathroom tissue, Kleenex, just anything to get any kind of foreign goop off of this front bearing, back bearing mating surface, inside bore. Just get that all nice and cleaned out. You can use compressed air and or solvents on this. Anything up to and including lacquer thinner is fine as long as you don't get it on finished surfaces, depending on the finish type that you have. That can really attack things. So let's take the front bearing off of the extension. Now that we've got this chassis cleaned out, we're going to clean off the inside bore, the outside bore, or the outside surface, the inside surface, and both faces. Just clean that all off nice. Then clean off the mating surface on the extension that goes to, and the keyway surface here. Just clean that off. Now this is already clean. I'm just kind of going through the motions here, but that's exactly how you'd do it if this was actually dirty. We're going to clean off this back bearing here too. Just any rotational bearing surface. Get anything that's going to be rotating against anything else. Rotating, sliding, moving, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. That's all nice and clean. What we're avoiding is making sure that we don't get any lubricant migrated onto the male thread here or the female thread here. So now that that's all cleaned, we're going to apply a little bit of lubricant because we can. We don't absolutely have to, but we can. So the lubricant that's recommended for this is Super Lube. This is multi-purpose synthetic grease. It has PTFE in it. It's a paste lubricant that is very heavyweight. It stays where it's put. It's actually food grade. It's USDA, FDA approved for indirect food contact. As I understand it, that means that you can actually eat it, but you probably shouldn't put it on a hot dog. So safe on your hands. It's not going to creep anywhere. It's not going to creep into these threads. It's not going to creep down the extension into the tuning pin or anything crazy like that. Since it's synthetic, it's going to stay in its original condition. It's not going to break down and harden. This is actually the best trap work lubricant, pedal lubricant, general piano lubricant that I've ever come across. It doesn't work for, bushings like CLP or something like that would, but I can't tell you how many squeaky pedals or player mechanism squeaks that I've fixed with this lubricant. It's just one of the best general purposes lubricants that I've ever come across. Incredible stuff. 3-ounce tube should be enough to last you an entire career or lifetime if you're using it for all sorts of stuff, and it'll certainly last you a lifetime if you're just using it for the cyber hammer. This is available from the major piano suppliers. Schaff, I believe, should be carrying this. Ace Hardware, Lowe's, Home Depot, the good or large hardware stores should certainly have this. You can get it on Amazon, so I'll be putting a link in the description where you can purchase this online. Okay, so let's take just some small tool. I happen to be using, this is a bamboo skewer type tool. You use these for like shish kebab or something like that, or fixing stripped holes in wood if you're in a real hurry. All right, so I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of this out here. That's just a wee blob of it. I'm going to put some of it around this surface, and this is more than I need. This is more than I need. Just every 45 degrees, a little blob of it is all you absolutely need on this surface or any surface. That's more than enough that I've got on there right now. And you really only need to put it on this surface here, because as you put the bearing down, it's going to squeeze it up and around this surface here. But you're probably going to get it everywhere anyways, just because that's how it works. Now that I've got it on the extension, I'm going to follow through with this surface here as well. Just put a little bit around this bore and see if I can get some in here on this face as well. There we go. That'll do. In fact, that's certainly more than enough. And the same thing with the back bearing face. Okay. There we go. More than enough. Set our tool aside, and let's put the mechanism back together. Extension, front bearing, put those together. Now we've got some squeeze out, that's fine. Just going to wipe that off with our handy paper towel that we already showed before. Put that in here. And we've got lots of squeeze out because I was pretty messy here. Just get that off so we don't have to clean it off with our hands. And let's take our back bearing and back screw assembly, making sure that we don't get any lubricant on that. Put it carefully in through that center hole so we're not, once again, getting any lubricant on that. That's very important. Okay. And that is almost all there is to it. We're going to give it one more wipe down with the paper towel and we're good to go. Now this is not going to squeak at all at this point. If this mechanism does squeak in the future, just take it apart and go through that process. I've taken about 3 times as long as it would usually take even in the field. Just going through that, it takes 3 times as long to do something while you're explaining it as it does to generally do it. Now, screw backing out. I have induced this already. You may have, the astute among you may have already noticed that this is going to be loose. So you can see I'm rotating this, and that back screw is barely moving. I've got way too much forward and backward travel here, and this is quite wiggly. Not good. You can actually tune with this like this. The balance drive system self-adjusts as it hits its moment of impact, but we can do better than that. Now, flag driver. Tighten this down, and assuming we've got our set screw properly adjusted and haven't changed that adjustment in any way, just the maximum amount of torque that I can easily apply with this tool is more than enough to do the job. If you find that that set screw is moving, like you can continue to put more and more pressure on this to the point where it's difficult to move the mechanism, you may need to apply a little bit of counter pressure with this 2.5 millimeter hex driver. So that'll look something like this. Say you do that and it's just not enough, or you've used your bit driver with a T20 bit in there, and you can put a fair amount of torque with this. The torque amount that you want on this is really hand snug. You don't need hand tight. You don't need gorilla tight at all. You just need the set screw in there. You only need that set screw in there to be butted up against the back screw, and those two tightened against each other. The torque between these two mating faces just pushed up against each other. That should hold this back screw from coming out under normal circumstances. If you find that your cyber hammer and or the way you use it, etc., that's just not working, you've cleaned out the mechanism, you've cleaned out those threads, and it's still doing it, you can consider applying just a little bit of this medium strength thread locker. I really like this gel type thread locker. Medium strength, once again. Do not recommend you use the red high strength thread locker. Permatex 24005, great stuff. Or Loctite 243. This is the liquid type. And either of those, just a little dot on the threads of the back screw. That's all you need. Put that in there, tighten it down, and that will solve the back screw coming out. The back screw should not come out under those circumstances. That solves the squeaking issue. That solves the back screw backing out issues. If you have any other questions about the Cyber Hammer, other issues with the 800 series Cyber Hammer or the Balance Drive 2 extension, anything else that we can help you with regarding our tools, don't hesitate to contact us. RayburnTools.com. Click on support or contact, and you can also email us at info@RayburnTools.com. Thanks a lot, and enjoy using your Cyber Hammer.